move your body like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. My time is up, my season is here. My testimony is here. The lights are falling for me, pleasant places. My God will turn all my morning into joy. Hey, my time is up, my season is here. My testimony, hey, is here. The lights are falling for me, pleasant places. My God will turn all my morning into joy. Say, I am favored, favored above everything. It's working for my good. Hey, I am walking in victory. Yeah, I am favored, favored above everything. It's working for my good. You can call me favor. Say I am favored.
I am favored.
Favored.
Favored above everything.
Hey.
It's working for my
I am walking in victory.
walking in victory.
Hey. I am favored.
I am
Favored above everything.
above everything.
Come on, sing it.
It's working for my
You can call me favor.
call me favor.
Say I am favored.
I am favored.
Yeah. Working for my good.
Working for my good.
Walking in victory.
Walking in
glory.
victory.
Say I am favored.
I am
Heaven
favored.
above everything.
Above everything.
Working for my
It's
good.
working for my good.
Call me favor.
Call me favor.
Listen. Wipe your tears. Your season is here. Your testimony is here. The lights are falling for you in pleasant places. My God will turn all your morning into joy.
Wipe your tears.
Oh, your season is here. Your testimony is here. The lights are falling for you in pleasant places. My God will turn all your morning into joy. Say, I am favored.
I am favored.
Come on.
Favored above everything.
Working for my
It's
good.
working for my good.
Walking in glory.
Walking in victory.
Say, I am favored.
I am favored.
Favored above everything.
Above everything.
Working for my
It's
good.
working for my good.
Call me favor.
Call me favor.
Say, I am favored.
I am favored.
Yeah.
Favored above everything.
Working for my good.
It's working for my
Can
good.
you declare this over your life?
Walking in victory.
Walking in victory.
I am favored.
Yeah.
Favored above everything.
Working for my good.
It's working for my
You can
good.
call me favor.
Call me favor.
Say, everybody say you are with me.
Walk with me every step of the way.
I am not alone.
I am not alone.
You took away
Walk away
all the sin.
all
Say, I am favored. Yeah. Working for my good. You can call me favored. Thank you, never say, I am favored.
It's working for my good.
Walking, I'm walking, I'm walking. To the abundance.
I am favored.
Working for my good.
It's working for my
You can
good.
call me favored.
Call me favored.
Give the Lord a shout.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to come here once again. I hope you've all had a wonderful Sunday and looking forward to Monday. We all don't like Monday, but hey, we thank God for today, and I hope you've all, well rested and, looking forward to energetic Monday and also, I'll say throughout the week. We are going to discuss an important topic that affects all of us. And tonight, I will please urge you to share, tonight's discussion. I know, most of you might say that, oh, okay, maybe my status. It's okay. So I might not need, this discussion. But maybe it might not be for you. It might be for your cousin. It might be for your brother. It might be for your auntie. And so for that matter, I will please plead with you. I will just beg you to share this interview and let this interview go very, very far. We've all heard and also seen, what has really happened to most of our, family members that, actually migrated to, to UK, especially last year and also last 2 years. And we've all actually witnessed how most of them, were deceived into selling, their properties and, many things, only to, actually find out that what they promised was not, the right thing. So tonight, I'll please urge you, and we are so privileged to have a solicitor. We all know how busy, they are. And, for her to be so generous with her time tonight, I do not take it for granted at all. Tonight, we're talking about the changes in the UK immigration rules and how it affects all of us. The changes in immigration rules and its effects. Immigration is the process of moving to a new country or region with the intention of staying and living there. People may choose to immigrate for a variety of reasons, such as employment opportunities, to escape a violent conflict, environmental factors, educational purposes, or to reunite with family. Tonight, I have with me Solicitor Chidinma from Curtis and Associates. And let's have it. Good evening, ma'am.
Hey, good
And, good to have you.
evening.
Good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Yes,
so
yes,
pleased to be here again. Thank you.
yes, I'm so humble because, being a new mom, we just want to wish you congratulations.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Thank you.
And I hope, our baby girl is doing right, okay. And
Very
we
well.
welcome, her to the Inside View family.
Thank
And,
you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. And I just want to say a big thank you also to your husband, in spite of your busy schedule, to, especially being a new mom and also, working full time for you to bless us with your time. I say bless, like I use bless because it's not easy for you to just, bless us with your time, especially on this important, topic, which affects all of us. All of us. Tonight, we just want to talk about the changes in immigration rules. It looks like every year we hear something. We hear something new, either on the news, everywhere about immigration. And tonight um, we just I know you've been here before, but for the sake of our new viewers, if you could just tell us tonight something small about beautiful Chidinma Akunna.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here, and I must commend you for the great work you're doing. You're just so keen on saying. I know when we spoke, you spoke with a lot of passion about people of our ethnic minority, and I think you're doing a great job. Thank you for that. My name is Chidi Akunna. You can call me that. Like you have said, I'm a solicitor with Alketas and Associate Solicitors. For me, it's been a pleasure being a solicitor, just because, I mean, every day you get to see different aspects of life. You see people with different issues, different areas. And of course, I think one thing I love about where I work is that the fact that you can work in different areas. You're not just down to one area. So you might be surprised. I mean, the last time I was here, I spoke about wills. So it's just that why I like it is the fact that in our community, I mean, people approach you and they think because you're a lawyer, you should know something about every area of the legal system. At least you should be able to point people in the right direction. So that's I like the varied perspective it brings, the varied experience which I am gleaning from. I love that. So in a nutshell, that's me. Every day I get to work, it's a different thing entirely. You don't know what you would be expecting, but it's been a worthwhile journey for me, a fulfilling journey indeed.
Thank you so much. Immigration is so important. It, to me, it's increases employment benefits, income actually goes up, GDP of that country actually goes up. I mean, it brings a lot of benefits. I'll say that the benefits basically outweighs the negatives. But it looks like anytime we talk about immigration, everybody, especially um, nobody wants to actually hear about immigration. So for me, I just want to know, why are there rules about immigration? Why is it so important for every country to have rules about immigration?
That's a good question, and I mean I think I love the way your mind works with this question. If we don't have rules in place, it means people would come in and do whatever they like. You see, it's just like when we talk about every home, every family is a nation, right? If you don't have rules around your family, what that means is that anyone would walk into your family and do whatever they want. So every home, like every country, should have boundaries, which are called borders, right? Otherwise, you have people like pedophiles coming in. I mean, you have to secure your borders against pedophiles because you've got children in your country, in your family. I think that's what's applicable. It was really odd when Donald Trump was speaking somewhere and he said, even heaven has borders. So you need visas to get into heaven, and the visa is what? Salvation, really. So I think it's just important that every country should have immigration rules in the sense that the borders have to be protected. So they know there's that accountability of who's coming in and who's out. And what kind of people do we have in? Is it safe for the people in the country? So you hear sometimes in some cases, they will talk about is allowing this person in the country for the public, is it good for public safety? Does it enhance public safety? So talks like that come up because you people in the country need to feel safe. They need to know that we're not at threat, we're not at risk. I mean, at some point last year, it was in the news that someone escaped jail, broke out of prison,
Mhm.
and it was thought to be someone who was very dangerous. So
Yes.
there was just a lot of anxiety in the air, people really anxious about. where's this person? Has this person been traced and found? What happens if this person is not found? Then so that anxiety shouldn't be there, really, and that's why we have these borders, more for protection, really. And then it's, if you look at it in another sense, it's just for economic enhancement too, because when you have the numbers of people in the country, you're able to make good reviews. It was in the news earlier in the year, if not earlier, yeah, earlier this year, that Canada was considering tightening up immigration rules. Why? Because they were beginning to have housing issues. So you want to ensure that the people within the country have enough to go around. They have enough accessibility to the to social services, to education, to houses. People shouldn't be in the country and be homeless. So they should be properly taken care of. And I think that those are one of the things immigration rules set out to help against.
On the 7th of December, that was last year, the Home Office actually announced various changes to a number of UK immigration routes, as well as introduction of several new appendices to the immigration routes. And tonight, I know because of time, we might not be able to touch on everything, but I think we might touch on a few important ones, such as the hold on a minute. That's I think on the 1st of January, it says the UK student visa rules amended to prevent most international students from being accompanied or joined by a dependent while studying in the UK. I mean, if you can, we know that rules are there, but for some reason, even when we read, we don't tend, right, to understand because of the legal, jargons that's actually packed with these things. So that's why we tend to, indulge in your, services to help, break down all these legal terms, for the average, person to be able to understand. So if you could actually touch on this new rules and, well, basically, because I know that people will still, be will be affected. Like no matter how, I don't know whether we read, but then maybe we don't understand all. Sometimes we tend to use middlemen, and these middlemen sometimes swindle people. So if you can actually explain it so that people watching us will not fall prey to all these vices. Yeah, like in our system.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for that question. Okay, so about the student visas, yes, it was curbed on 1st of January 2024. And what that simply means is that international students will no longer be able to bring their dependents. So when they talk about dependents, it's just your partner, your spouse, or your children. That those will class as dependents. The international students will no longer be able to bring them over to join them in the UK. It used to be the case that they could, but there are exceptions. If you are a student, a PhD student, you should be able to. If you are on a research-based course for over 9 months, you should be able to. Or you're sponsored by the government of your home country for on a course of over 6 months. So what that means is, if the government of your country is sponsoring you, then you should be able to, as long as your course is for more than 6 months. So those are the exceptions. But on a general basis, international students will no longer be able to bring their dependents. I know when we say this, it's really sad because students pay a lot. People pay a lot to come here as students. And sometimes with your dependents, it just gives you that stability which you need to read. But in saying this, this is about the first time dependents will be curbed. There were times when it was the case of post-study work visas being taken out, and then they were brought back in another way. even though at the moment they do not count towards settlement. But it's just something that allows you to stay for 2 years at least. So what that means is for any student who is coming in, who's been in since January, you need to have that at the back of your mind. So if you were intending to come with your family, you may need to look for other sources or probably come first as a student. After studentship, then you would have to explore other means, other routes. There are other routes that can be explored. But that's what it is now for students.
Okay, so I mean, for the students, okay, when they complete their studies and they have this 2.5 years that they can actually stay and work. I mean, what happens, when they exhaust that 2.5 years? What happens to their situation?
Okay, so they would have to explore other routes. I think I was speaking with somebody about this. At the moment, this person is a student, has husband as dependent. So what that simply means at the right now is that husband, because if you allow me, I know we aren't there yet, but husband can explore that route. What other routes can the husband explore? Maybe the skilled worker route. Now, if husband has to explore that route, and it is such that because for one which is really famous now, which a lot of student dependents of students are going for, is the health and care visa. Now, people also need to be conscious of the fact that by 11th of March, they will no longer be able to bring on dependents on that route. So, if if possible now for a student in this case, your husband or your dependent, your partner, could decide to get a certificate of sponsorship at the moment and go on that route with your children. So at least you know that your young dependents are sorted. Once on that route, you carry on. When you finish, at least you've got the graduate scheme to go on for 2 years. After that, you can source for other routes. You could, even if you have to source for other skilled worker visa routes, then you can carry on, but at least the family is sorted in a case like that. So what students should be doing at the moment is exploring, trying to contact possible sponsors for sponsorship at the end of their studies. That's something they should be doing, really.
Thank you so much
There are
for.
other routes students could want to explore, but those routes do not count towards sponsorship because at the end of the day, you want to be in the country and know that you're on a route counting towards sponsorship. And that's where we also would like to remind students that if you're on the graduate scheme, it doesn't count towards sponsorship. So what that means is, sorry, when I say sponsor, I had settlement in mind. I kept saying sponsorship. It doesn't count towards settlement. Beg your pardon. So what that means is that there's something called the 10-year long residence for people who have been students in the country. So you see students who move, as long as you're aspiring, you're moving upward. And so if you have come in here as an undergraduate, you go on to study on the master's level, and you go on to do a PhD, you're making those progressions. That would be fine. So some people get to the point where in the course of the period, they would have, been here for 10 years, and then they can apply for settlement on the basis of long residence. Uh, it used to be the case that after, if people went on to post-study work visas, that would count towards their time. So those 2 years would be added to the time you've been here as a student, but not anymore on the graduate scheme. So you would know that if you've been here for 8 years, and you're thinking that, okay, I'll just get on the graduate scheme to make up 2 years, that would no longer be possible because in those 2 years do not count towards settlement. So you would need to find another route to get onto. So it has to be long legal residence of 10 years, but you have to be on the right route, on routes that are considered to count towards settlement. So other routes that students sometimes would want to explore if they've run out of options, maybe the small scale the scale-up visa route, the innovator visa route, innovator founder visa, but these routes often don't count towards settlement. So what that means is you may want to get on these routes temporarily while you still have time, at least you're in the country, you still have time to look for probably a certificate of sponsorship that would help you switch.
Wow. I mean, now that you've mentioned the certificate of sponsorship, I would want you to talk more about that because I think that's where all this problem is coming from. Last year, we witnessed a lot of people, um, being rendered homeless, not being able to get a job, even though they've paid huge sums of money to be here. They've paid huge sums of money to get their COS, but then when they got here, there is no job for them, and as such, most of them, I think, vented their frustrations on the news. We witnessed a lot on Sky News and also on BBC. Talking so much about this, and as a result, I think we got to know. What's actually going on the ground. What is the COS, and how do this whole saga about this whole thing? And tonight, if you can actually throw more light, the right way that people can get their COS without not being swindled by middlemen, by paying over 10,000, some are even paying 17,000, 18,000, to get here, only to realize that it's not what they were promised. So if you can please tonight just educate our people on the right things to know and also on the right things to do. Yeah, and also where to get the
Okay.
right information. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad what the scenario is painted, of people who have to pay so much to come here. And in fact, some of them come here and realize there are no jobs to go to, so they've spent all that money. COS is simply certificate of sponsorship. It's a certificate that is given to licensed sponsors. So for people who've been running business for a while in the country, they can register to obtain this license. So in making the application, you can make the application stating this, the description of the role you would want people to come on for, the number of employees you would need. Because I think it's about time some people in our community need to start considering applying for these licenses. Some of us don't realize we can, even if the business has not been running for up to 18 months, you can at least send your bank statements to show the business has been doing well. Then one thing people don't realize, which is why they fall prey to these things, is the fact that when sponsors are licensed, they are registered on a list of licensed sponsors. So once you're issued a certificate of sponsorship, you should be checking out the sponsor on that register. You should go on the register and check, is this sponsor truly licensed? Because what has happened or what's happening now is that people are issued certificates of sponsorship and they just go and rush off to make applications, not checking out these sponsors. You can check them out. It's a public list. It's open to the public, so you can actually check to see if this person is sponsored. Because just because you were talking about payments, the people who are falling prey to this a lot are those on the health, uh, social and care visas. People, healthcare workers. Now, what it is a lot pay. They actually shouldn't be paying for these things, but that's what it is at the moment. A lot of sponsors take huge amounts of money and sell these certificates to people who are desperate to come into the country. For the health and for these visas, people also need to know that at the moment now, from I think the change would be from 11th of March this year. Every sponsor in England, everyone who has to bring in people under this route in England would have to be licensed, would have to be regulated by CQC. That's the Quality Commission. So what that simply says to you is, if you're coming to work in England, you should be checking out if the person who's giving you this certificate has actually is actually regulated by CQC. Otherwise, what that means is that you would be coming in after 11th of March to something that really is non-existent it's not in existence really, because if that person is not regulated by CQC, then you're at risk. Or someday you would just dial the number and be told that the number you're dialing is unavailable. That's not what we want. So that's one for the healthcare thing. Then for the skilled worker, generally, you need to be checking if the sponsor is actually registered on the list of licensed sponsors. So if the certificate you have is real. In saying that too, I would be careful, because I know some people have been victims of unintended consequences, which an example being some have been sold certificates that have been used by other people in the past. So these people don't know about this until they have made the applications, then their visas are refused. Uh, Unfortunately, sometimes these visas are refused and they're given a ban of 10 years, a ban, so no entry into the UK. You and I know that once that ban is in place, it affects your entry into other Western countries. And that's not what we want. So it's about doing our due diligence. Unfortunately, the responsibility lies with you. You should be searching to be sure this is someone I can trust. The sponsor is somebody I can trust. The sponsor is actually registered. If I'm coming for a care role in England, I should be checking that this person is actually, after 11th of March this year, I should be checking that this person is actually regulated by the Care Quality Commission. These are a few things we need to be doing at least to protect ourselves.
Wow. So, if I heard you right, I mean, it was people were not supposed. I don't know. I'm so overwhelmed, and at the same time, I feel so disappointed because if people were not supposed to be paying that or those huge sums of money, is there any way that we can bring these people, or just hold them to account? Is there any way that we can? Because I mean, it's not fair, to be charging somebody over £20,000, to get here only to find out that there's no job or there are no jobs for them. I mean, what can be done to such COC, you know, like holders? I mean, what can be done to them? I mean, is there any way that we can hold, these people to, like into account?
That's a good
Because
question,
I'm
and
thinking,
sorry, were
no,
you
no, no.
speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's not fair.
Mm,
It's not fair.
mm.
It's not fair at all, especially because I think there was an incident where I think there was a family that were actually lamenting. They had to sell their house, they had to sell their car and everything, only to be homeless in England. And only to hear from you that they were not supposed to be paying that amount. It's not fair.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not really, it isn't. But the thing too is, if you also speak to these people who are lamenting, they would tell you it's just because they're desperate. So it's to them, it just appears to be an opportunity. They're jumping, they're going for it because they really want to be, they really want to travel. They really want to be in England. They really want to leave for the UK. They want to exit their home countries. It is sad. But I think what is also worse is that after paying such, they come over here and they are victims of fraud because uh, some of them are unable to reach these people. And those who actually are giving jobs, because I was speaking with someone who is going through a lot of difficulty with her sponsor. She is unable to report the sponsor because the sponsor, each time she probably complains about something, which is outside the contracts that was signed, the sponsor would decide not to give her shifts for a while. So what that means is you go for probably 1 week without working. Now like you were saying, they have spent so much coming here. They need to be making money, not sitting at home without jobs just because a sponsor is trying to teach you an unfortunate lesson, something that should never be happening. But what people can do right now is inform those back home, those who will be coming, that you can actually check out these sponsors online to be sure that they're even licensed. Because some come here and they can't trace the sponsors. They're nowhere to be found. So it's like they're just here with a certificate that lets them work, but there's no work to be done, which is even a worst case scenario, if you agree with me. So unfortunately, if you speak to them and you say to them, let's report this, they would tell you, they would be quick to point out to you that it comes back to haunt them. They will be the ones affected after all, because if you report to the sponsor and the sponsor's license is revoked, then there's no job for them. So why would they want to do that? Do you see? So it's like their hands are tied. Their hands are tied because there are things you can do legally. Well, people think about the consequences on themselves after all.
Wow. Because when I actually brought the flyer out, I had one guy that sent me this question, for you. He goes, my sponsor's license has been suspended, and I am not working. Will I be allowed to enter the UK on a return trip from abroad, since my work permit is valid until 2027?
Hmm. So this, I take it that this person is not in the country yet. It's not in the UK yet.
No, he's in the UK.
He is here.
Yeah, he says, my sponsor's license has been suspended, and I am not working. Will I be allowed to enter the UK? Because I think he wants to go back home, I think, for a visit and come
I
back.
see. I
Yeah, but
see. I see.
um, his sponsor's, license has been
Mm.
suspended, and he's not working at the moment. So he wants to find out that if he travels, actually back home, will he be allowed to enter, since his
I,
work permit is valid
yeah.
until 2027? Yeah.
I would say it's really risky, honestly, because what you don't want is that while out, your sponsor's license is then revoked. At the moment, it's suspended, you know, and you should really be sourcing to see what else can I do. That's what you should be using the time now to do. But I think it would be risky for you to go out. You know, stay as you are, stay in the country and try to look for other options while that's being considered, while whatever is going on with your sponsor is being investigated. Because it might just be that at the end of it, the license is revoked. If revoked, it means there's nothing for you, really. So upon entry into the country, they would be asking you, what are you coming back to? Because it would be on the system that this person is no longer a sponsor. So I think that would be too much risk to take, traveling out. So as if possible, as much as try to remain here.
Wow. So if I'm getting you right, it means every sponsor's license that has been revoked, um, if you don't know, and let's say you travel and you want to come back, and they find out that your sponsor's license has been actually revoked or maybe suspended, it means you'll not be allowed back into the country. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, there's a possibility for
There's a
that.
possibility.
There is someone going through that at the moment, and the person is stuck in his home country with his family. Unfortunately, they had to make an emergency trip because his mother was on her deathbed, really. So it was a case of she had few hours to live, so they just took off. And then whilst there, they received the unfortunate news. So they're still fighting that. They're going through judicial reviews, to help them come back into the country. So it's an unfortunate situation, and you can understand that they really had to travel. But honestly, as much as possible, that would be my recommendation, that you stay here until things are sorted.
Assaulted. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. And I think
Because you'll be spending more money, you'll be spending a
mm,
lot to have to fight to come back here.
mm,
Even just, but let's look at it in practical terms. If you're coming back into the country, you're coming in as a skilled worker, right?
yeah,
If you're supposed to be a skilled worker on sponsorship and there is no sponsor, what exactly are you coming back to?
yeah.
That would be the question.
Okay, great. And I think like another person also asked, are there still companies giving COS to international candidates for health and social care sector?
There are, there are. And what would even alarm you is that there are companies who are giving even, well, so for international candidates, there are a number of them who would rather have you pay for them, unfortunately. But for those available to give, why not? They are there. But it's for you to do your due diligence. I'll always put that there. Do your due diligence to ensure that they are real, they are regulated, they are on the list of sponsors. Please, licensed sponsors. You need to be doing your due diligence.
Great. Tonight, if you're still watching us, I just want to, recommend El Curtis and Associates, for you. If you're going through any form of immigration issues, any form of, family issue, any legal issues at all, please, I would just recommend, lawyer Chidinma Akunna and her associates, for you. And I mean, just we can actually tell based on how she's explaining things to us, how good her firm is. So please, tonight, if you need any help, please don't hesitate to contact her. Her firm is called El Curtis and Associates, and please contact them for any form of legal issues that you might be facing. And I hope they will be of great help, to you. So please don't hesitate. And you know, I am. There's something about our community. Um, I just wish that we all pay attention to details. When it comes to important discussions, we shy away from it. And but when it comes to entertainment, we have people flooding in to watch and everything. But when it comes to important discussions, nobody wants to make the time. And then it comes back, to bite us, where we have to pay huge sums of money. Tonight we have a solicitor that has actually blessed us with her time. And I was thinking a lot of people would just, tune in, share, invite people to be a part of discussion and also send in their questions. But as at now, I've not, apart from those two questions that was sent before tonight, um, I don't know. But if you're watching us, kindly send your concerns if you have anything, or if you've heard anything that you think maybe Lawyer Chidi might be able to help you. Kindly, please text the question across, and I know she'll be able to just give you the right answers or the right information that maybe you need here tonight. So I think we've touched on the students route, and also we've touched on the I think one that's really apart from the COS was the hold on a minute. Um, um, for I think on family settlement as well. I think which you've touched on. I'm not too sure. Oh yes,
That's a
the one
speak.
that really caught my attention was the one that was actually that was last month, 31st of January 2024, which says permitted activities for visitors expanded, and it says rights where conditions for visitors amended to allow remote working.
Working.
Yes, permitted paid engagement, visitor route merged into the standard visitor route, and new appendix, bereaved partner, and also appendix victim of domestic abuse, and appendix statelessness introduced. Pardon me. So, if you can actually elaborate on that for us,
Okay.
what that whole um, new regulation actually means, please.
Okay. Okay. I'll speak to that. But before then, just because I've had two people in a few weeks contact me about this, I thought I would mention
Yeah, sure.
about the skilled worker route. You find people in our community who think they're very smart and they decide to register companies online because it's something they can do online with the company's house. And then they come to you telling you this company wants to apply for a license. What they don't realize is that the before the license is issued, they will be checking out who the directors of the company are. There are other things they look out for. So you cannot be a director of a company you want to get license from as your sponsors. It doesn't work like that. But for two people to have come to me in a short space of time to ask of that, and actually one was trying to hide the fact that he had actually registered the company. He wasn't speaking. But by the time his name was searched, we could see his name. He had registered this company, and he wanted this company to apply for license so the company can then sponsor him. It doesn't work like that. If you think you have such ideas, why don't you get other people who probably have businesses running or who have business interests that might want to do that? I thought I'll just chip that in. There's no point thinking you're trying to help yourself, but then you're hurting yourself because it just messes up your immigration history. So for the other question you've asked about the permitted, simply for the permitted activities, it used to be the case that, when you apply for visitor visa, you'll be told you cannot work in the UK. But now they allow people work remotely while here. But what you must take into consideration is that you must have applied for one of the permitted activities. So, for instance, you apply for tourist visa, you cannot come here solely for the purpose of working remotely. No. But they would allow you if you are working remotely. Do you see? That's what that adjustments made provision for, really. That you could be in the UK on permitted activity, say as a tourist, whilst working remotely. They're very big on jurisdiction, so they had to include that, so it's accommodated. Otherwise, it is what's called vicarious liability, things that happen in the course of duty. But it's then your responsibility with your employer, not with the country where you work in, or because it's been allowed, though you can work remotely. That's what the provision made for. Then for the you talked about the one for bereavement. Yes, they changed the appendix to make room for people whose spouses die, probably whilst they're out. And there's a case which, when I saw it, I thought this was just brilliant for those going through domestic violence. There have been cases of a number of people in our community who their spouses bring them over here. And after a while, for whatever reason, they're upset or, you know, they send them back to their home country and seize their passports, seize their BRP cards. So they're unable to come back to the UK. So what this new appendix has made room for is that even if they're out and don't have their passports, they can apply for entry clearance to come back into the country. I thought that was just phenomenal when I saw it because sometimes you have
Well, that's
people who
brilliant,
call
isn't
it
it?
women. It is. It is. I was so pleased to see that because sometimes you have women who call in from back home. They've been married to this person, sometimes 2 years, and they've been isolated, not, probably for one, I'll give an example. She decided to venture. She realized that a school close to their house, there was a center close to their house where they were teaching English. So every day she would go there, to learn English because her English wasn't great. And unfortunately, on one of those days, while using the bathroom, she, was trying to put her hair together, and her classmate walked into the bathroom and could see scars, marks all over her. So she got alarmed. I was like, what's going on? Why do you have all these scars all over you? So she, covered up and was like, no, no, it's nothing, it's nothing. And she left. By the time she got home, she was in the house, and the police came to the house. Unknown to her, her friend had called the police, so they arrived at her door. Her husband, they spoke to her husband. Her husband said, "Oh, she wasn't back. She's not here. What have you?" So by the time the police left, she was on the next flight to her home country. And he took their daughter from her. So she was just sent back home. So it was a challenge. It was really a fight to bring this lady back. It took. So when I saw this, I thought this is just brilliant. After finally, they're beginning
Yeah,
to pay
finally.
attention. So these people shouldn't be left back home, because they might just leave them, take their passports and their BRP cards, and they're there. So they can't do anything. They can't come back. So that's that. When I saw that, I thought that was very good. Then the one of for spouse or partner visa, you have that. But what used to happen be the case is you had to have meet the financial requirement of 18,600, but that's been increased now to 29,000. It will be increased, I think, by 6th April, if I'm not mistaken, 4th or 6th April, but it will be in April. So
So
people
for
need
that
to
one,
act fast.
I mean, sorry to interject, but
Mhm.
for that figure, is it for British citizens as well? Actually wanting to bring, their spouse, or it's just for, um, like, I don't know. Is it,
Okay. So it's
um,
for British citizens and settled persons. When we say
settled?
settled persons, people with indefinite leave to remain.
Okay.
Yeah. So for British citizens or settled persons who want to bring their spouses or their dependents, some will be here and they have since married, maybe gone home, get married, and they want to bring their loved ones to join them. So what it means now is that you have to be earning your annual income should be up to 29,000. Yeah. So, but the thing here is, for those who are not earning that much yet, then they have to hurry. They have to hurry up and bring their spouses before April, because it's a lot of money. You know,
It
one thing they
is.
didn't talk about is when it was 18,600, you could also show that you have savings of at least £16,000, but that savings ought to have been in your account for 12 years. But they didn't talk about that. So nobody knows if they're still going to consider that by April, if it's still going to remain 16,000 or not. So you see, what if somebody's been saving this whole time, 16,000, then you get to April and they say it's not sufficient. So really, people need to be acting really fast.
Oh, okay. So what
Mhm,
if someone actually makes an application now?
mhm.
With that, 18,600, sitting in their account. I mean, what happens to the person?
You're fine. You're fine. Because it doesn't matter when they consider it, they'll be considering it as at the date of the application. So you'll be fine. Another thing some people don't realize is that in February, earlier this month, the immigration health surcharge increased by 66%. So what that means is, for other people, it used to be £624 for a year. Now it's £1,035. It's a lot of money. For students, it used to be 400 and something. Now it's 776. So or people under the age of 18 will now have to pay 776 for a year. So in a case like this, if you're bringing your spouse, what that means is that because your spouse would be issued a visa for 2.5 years, so
Mhm.
you would be paying 1,035 times 2.5. For something you used to, it's a lot of money.
It
So
is.
some people missed it narrowly, because I know someone who was trying to source for that money, and um, contacted us on the day it kicked in. So missed out and had to pay the difference, unfortunately. So yes. Mm. I think another thing too for the new statement of change for the statement of change for immigration rules is the increase in the fine for illegal working. So sometimes you see people who would say, oh, whatever the case, I would rather remain here and be illegal. You need to realize that employers are also at risk now, a lot more risk, because it used to be the case that they would pay for first time defaulters, they'll pay £15,000. Now it's been tripled. So if they are caught employing somebody who's here illegally, they will be paying £45,000. If it's your second time, if you've done it before, you'll be paying 60,000 as opposed to 20,000 before. So it's a hell of a, nobody would want to risk that. So if you're thinking whatever happens, I'll just float illegally, you're taking a lot of risk, a lot of risk. So you need to be thinking, is that really what you want to do? Or should you be working hard now to see how you can switch?
Whichever way, I mean, like whichever way that you look at it, it's not pleasant at all. So what happens to
Mhm.
this, statelessness?
Stateless people.
Yes, because I think there was a new appendix on that to the
Yes,
statelessness.
yes. I think if I remember reading that. But the thing too is, I don't think they will be denied applying because they are stateless. If I remember that, I know they won't be stopped because they're stateless. But of course, they'll be checking the circumstances under which you've been made stateless. They'll be checking that because yes, you have like the what are they called? The Bedouin, the Bedouin
Yeah.
people, they're stateless people. So for that one, their applications are considered, even though they are stateless. Because that's that tribe that's peculiar to them. So you have to allow it. Yes.
If there's any other information that you want to tell us, because I wanted us to to talk on the student visa, the skilled workers, the
Yeah, for the skilled worker visa, the threshold, that's the minimum salary threshold, will also be increasing in April. In April, yes, to £38,700. It used to be 26,200, I think. So it would be increasing to, unfortunately, I know a lot of people signed the petitions, people were hoping it wouldn't happen. Now, those on that the healthcare route are exempt from this increase, but then people signed the petition hoping that since because for the settlement, for the spouse visa, it was dropped. So they were hoping that would happen. For now, it hasn't happened. So it does appear it will be going ahead in April. So what that would mean is you need to be checking with your employer that you would be earning up to, it's a lot of money, you'll be earning up to 38,700. Imagine people, fresh graduates who are just, out and they've been granted certificate of sponsorship. Very few employers will want to pay them that much, especially if you're a new graduate. So it's something people are up against as well. It's something to have in mind. So if you've been issued, I know someone who has already been issued a certificate, but fortunately will be starting in March. When this whole thing started, she called, and then at least it was just good to know that they'll be um enforcing this in April. So she'll be fine because what she's been granted sponsorship for, her earning is far less than 38,000. So
so
fortunately, she would be missing that.
wow. So what happens, to the PhD holders? I mean, um, do they get any exemptions with these higher, income brackets? Do they get any exemptions at all?
They do, yes, because I think they are one of the people exempt as well. Those on education, the education route. So they will, for those on that route, I think there's an exemption for them. But don't forget, in all of these things we're saying, if you see the statement of change it's been ongoing. I mean, as at December, on December 6th, it was altered. Earlier in February, it was altered. Then on 22nd February, they made few very minor changes to it. So there's the possibility things may change. It's just and I mean, I know sometimes we are reluctant in our community to sign these petitions, but when you see these petitions, you sign them. Just imagine that for spouse visa, they dropped it from 38,700 to 29,000. Just people were crying out.
Even
So
the
when you see some of
29,000 is
it's
still
still a lot.
not,
It's
because I
still a
mean,
lot.
how many people
Yeah.
in 21,000, 25,000, let alone 29,000, as one person, and then
Mm,
it's too much.
mm.
I don't
But
know.
with planning now, if people learn to plan, uh, unfortunately, what it would mean is you may be apart for longer, but you can plan it and meet up with it. If and sometimes, especially with the savings, you could get savings, and plan with that as well. If you're unable to meet up with your income,
Your income,
you
okay.
you could use that too. Yes. It's just that it would, and that's against, for me, the way I say it is an interference on the rights to private and family life, really. Because what the Home Office should be doing is encouraging, by duty, they have a duty to encourage family reunion, not encourage families being apart. That's why I really frown at this whole thing about the cutting off dependence and what have you. It's really sad when you think about it, because you're infringing on people's right to private and family life. Well,
Yeah.
we're faced with this at the moment.
Ooh, wow. I think this is what that basically affects us. The rest is the the ETA that affects the Bahrain, Kuwait. I think that really does not affect us. And also,
Yes.
yeah, we talked about the fines for illegal working. We talked
It
about
affects them too, because they're really upset. A lot of them are upset. They formerly did not need electronic travel authorization to come into the UK, and all of a sudden they're being told they have to apply for it. So for these people, especially those from the United Arab Emirates, Oman, they will usually just come in with their passports. But right now they're saying you have to apply for ETAs. So for them, it's like, what's this new thing? Yeah, but
that's new.
that's the new rule.
Wow. I think you've thrown more light on
Mm,
this, or on these immigration new rules, and how it affects all of us. There's something about us. When it doesn't affect us directly, we don't pay attention to it.
yes,
Or
yes.
like should I say, when it's not too close to us, we don't pay too much attention to it. Unless maybe
Mm,
it's closer to our doorstep. That's when we tend to seek out for information. But then I'll say that by
mhm,
that time it might be too late. So it's either you get it now, because they say knowledge is power, and maybe it might not be for you. Maybe it might be for a friend, a cousin, or maybe a loved one. So
mm,
this kind of discussions, or like there's a discussion that's not. I mean, it's not
mm,
for those who are indirectly affected, but I mean, it's worth knowing about what's going on. Yes, like in the system. Yes, and tonight we are so grateful to you, Lawyer Chidinma Akunna. We thank you so so much. I mean, if there's
thank you.
anything that you want to add to what we've just discussed, anything that you want to say to your loved ones, to your fans, anybody out there, and what
Mm,
you want our community also to know about these new immigration rules and how it affects all of us tonight, please.
mm. Yes, I just want to speak a word of encouragement to someone out there, because I know a lot of people are discouraged at this news. A number of them are out of choice, really, going through the entire list. Don't get so discouraged to the point that it begins to affect your mental health. Look for somebody, speak to somebody, you can reach out. You speak to a lawyer as well. It is possible that in the course of speaking with us, we'll be able to find alternatives, for you, even if it means splitting the family at the moment into different routes. We could find something. There might just be an option for you, but because you're not speaking, you don't know what it is. Don't stay in that bubble, and let it affect you, and uh, let it weigh you down. And also for people who are on that journey, uh, to realize that these rules keep changing. So you have to be very sensitive, pay attention to the rules. Don't just immerse yourself in what you're doing. I think you are already protected. So keep an eye on the rules so you know when to do what. There are times we've seen cases where people forget to make their applications, they miss their deadlines. Some forget that their visas are expiring. I've had cases where people would call me on the day and their visas will be expiring by midnight. Uh, so keep an eye on your documents. Approach this things. It requires a lot of intentionality. One thing I will keep putting out there is just have a sense of timing, because that's something that sometimes we've not been trained for in our community. So you see people who they go late for everything. You can't afford to be late with your visa applications. So you need to pay attention to that. And I'm hoping that things will be favorable very soon, and you will find joy again. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much. Um, Lawyer Chidinma Akunna, thank you so, 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 so much. I am so grateful because um, I know of your time is worth a lot
Fine.
of money, and here you are just giving us, actually just giving it to us for free, um, without any hesitations and no consultation fees, nothing. You are here tonight, just sharing knowledge, blessing our community with everything. And I'll just please urge you to use the right solicitors, the
Mhm.
right lawyers to help you with this kind of applications. Don't do them yourselves, just in case. If you make mistakes, it might cost you a lot of money. And sometimes your application might be revoked, it might be cancelled, or, I mean, you might end up actually being refused. So please make sure like just like she said, make sure you're always on time with your applications, and also um, you read the right information, and also just use the right lawyers, and also the right solicitors. I mean, that's all that I can say. And also, I mean, to anyone going through a lot of challenges, I'll say that all hope is not lost. Keep holding on. And just like our solicitor actually said, there are still different routes that people can still use, and it's just a matter of knowing the right person to contact, and the right person that tonight that I can recommend with all my heart is El Curtis and
Mhm.
Associates. So if you need any form of legal assistance, please contact them. They are online. I mean, they can be found online. So it's El Curtis. I'll just urge the
You can do info at lkettersanassociates.com, and it'll
okay.
come to us.
Okay, so do you have any number, any email, or I mean anything that you
Yes.
want people?
Uh, so the email info at lketters Echo Lima Kilo Echo Tango Alpha Sierra and associates ASS Alpha Sierra Sierra Oscar Charlie India Alpha Tango Echo Sierra.com.
Okay, .com.
And we
So
will pick
it's
it there. And telephone number 020 7489 2026. Yes.
I think you spoke too fast for the numbers as well. So if you can just please slow down for the numbers. 0207, did you say?
Yes. 0207
Uh-huh.
489
489
2026.
26. Okay. 0207 489 2026. 0207 489 2026. Please write this number down and contact them. I'll just ask the technical team to put the number across, which is 0207 489 2026. 0207 489 2026. And so watch out for the number. And also it's info. Okay, so that's the
And
number on the screen.
yeah.
And then also info at Elcatus and Associates.com.
Yes.
Did you say .com?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So
good. Just
okay. So
Elcatus.
Elcatus, okay.
Yeah.
So please feel free to contact them, and that's your number. Yes, on the screen as well. So I'll be sharing this interview on all the platforms. So please, if you chance upon it, please share. And before you share, kindly listen or watch it yourself and see where this might help you. And let us help ourselves. And we don't want our middlemen to swindle people again. Tonight we've been told that, I don't want to say illegal, to have been charged those huge sums of money. But hey, you're already here. And we don't want other people to fall prey to this cruelty. Yes, I say this with no apology, because something that people are not supposed to pay for, and you charge over 20,000, 19,000. Some had to pay 17,000, only to realize that there are no jobs for them. I say that with no apology. So please make sure, if you chance on this interview, please check for your sponsors, whether they are not suspended, whether they are CQC, qualified. Everything. Check about all your sponsors, whether they qualify to give you the COS before you pay those huge sums of money. So please do your homework well. Like in a nutshell, do your homework well before you come here. So tonight, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. And everyone that has stayed with us till now, I say thank you. Thank you. And knowledge is power. Let's keep educating ourselves. And together, yes, we can have a better community. So thank you so much, Solicitor Chidinma Akunna. Thank you. Thank you. And good night.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.